Yes, there's a lot to discuss. Vic Fangio press conference talking about the defense, talking about specific players, competition, you name it. Last day of OTAs for the Philadelphia Eagles. So it might take a couple days to do a couple videos. This one might be a little longer than usual. We'll see how it goes, but let's get straight into it all.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
Yo, what is going on, guys? I hope everyone's having a fantastic day today. I cannot speak today, but finally, last day of OTAs, we hear from Vic Fangio and a lot of information from this press conference. Some good news, some minor, not bad news, but concerning news moving forward, maybe. But we'll kind of go over all of that. So the first thing I want to go over is Bryce Huff. Okay, now Vangio did talk about Bryce Huff. When it comes to how he trades players on the defensive side of the ball or gets rid of somebody, realistically, Fangio says that it's really not his call when it comes to specific players, but we know that Bryce Huff is a bad contract. And all really Fangio really said about the situation, Bryce Huff, when he had the minor surgery and the Eagles let him go get that minor surgery on his wrist, came back, played with a cast for a couple games. It didn't work out. He lost feeling in his hand. He lost really feeling in his whole entire arm. So when it came to movement, there just really wasn't anything there. And I guess, Fangio didn't really trust Bryce Huff in the playoffs, didn't really trust him in that Super Bowl, pretty much not even playing him in there as a healthy scratch. So that pretty much says everything. But at the end of it, he says that the trade makes sense and that, Bryce Huff will play well in San Francisco. I think it's more than that. Fangio to tell us that he was playing better. I mean, how much could we really take from that? I just don't think he lived up to what he was supposed to be after one 10-sack season. I think we all know this because he didn't have the surgery until later on. So what happened to all those weeks where he was really supposed to produce for us? And it never really happened. So that was really the news on Bryce Huff. Now we finally get news on Jiad Campbell. Jiad Campbell has been doing some individual work on field with Vic Fangio. No team drills, but he has been doing some positional drills and things like that. The rumor has been so far is that he will be back by training camp. Well, Vic Fangio came out and pretty much said he won't be back until August. Okay, so he's going to miss a few weeks of training camp, a few weeks. We don't know when in August, middle of August, when preseason is going on. And from what I could see, he probably won't even play until the last preseason game. Now, he's been putting him at inside linebacker. He wants him to learn that position a lot more because I think it makes sense. He'll be the green dot in the future after Zach Bond is gone. But just in case, you want him to learn that position a lot more going forward. And on top of everything else, Vic Fangio did say that he sees Jiad Campbell as an edge rusher. I think we all see that because he could play off-ball linebacker really well, and he can rush the passer really well. I'm not really going to make a big deal out of him being out, but missing this valuable time in training camp will hurt a little bit. But as a first-round pick and the talent that he has, I think he'll come back swinging once we get into full pads and all of that stuff. And I think he'll have a few weeks to get prepared for the first game. So don't know if they'll play him in any preseason games. We'll see what happens. That is the news on Jiad Campbell so far. Now, Fangio was asked about the defensive end position, okay, because it's brand new now. I mean, look, you don't have Brandon Graham. He retired. Josh Sweat has departed to the Arizona Cardinals. He feels really good about Nolan Smith. He feels really good about Jalix Hunt, especially the end stretch at the end of the season. Okay, Jalix Hunt probably going to be a big gem for this team moving forward. I think we can all agree on that. But he feels good about Azeez Ojulari and Joshua Uche, and feels like he's got a pretty strong group out there putting in a lot of work. And but he thinks that Jalix and Nolan are really going to take that big step moving forward. Now it looks like Cooper DeJean not only is playing nickel, not only is playing outside corner and base, but he's actually playing safety now. And Vic Fangio actually said that he feels comfortable with him at all three positions. It's great that they're using him like a Swiss Army knife and they're moving him around a little bit and actually trying him out at safety, which isn't a bad thing either, because realistically, what we're really bad depth-wise at is that inside corner spot, because we really don't have, even last year, we didn't have a lot of guys that could play on the inside, hence why Cooper DeJean played that inside position full time. If they can get another guy That could be another depth piece, not only for this year, but for the future that can handle that inside nickel spot. You could move DeJean all over the field, garnering if you have injuries during the year or something like that. He can move anywhere you want him to. So obviously, we know that DeJean has that big value when it comes to this defense at playing multiple positions, and Vic Fangio loves it. And it's a work in progress right now, but we'll see what happens with Cooper DeJean. But primarily, he will be an inside corner. Well, Fangio talked about the safety position with Andrew Makuba, Sidney Brown, Tristan McCollum, that he really has no answer for it. By when we get into preseason, these preseason games, he will know that who's going to be the starter at that safety position next to Reed Blankenship. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson trade that Fangio said he had nothing to do with. This was really a cap savings move, and that's really all it was. I think it's a little bit more than that, but who knows? Vic Fangio had no final say on Chauncey getting traded or anything like that, so we could throw that out the window. And this is why they, drafted Andrew Makuba, and will be a wait and see approach when it comes to that safety competition. But he had a lot to say about Sidney Brown. I know us Eagle fans do talk about Sidney Brown, whether he's ready, not ready. He needs reps. I think we all know this, but Fangio did say that, Sidney Brown, the 23 season, he was in a totally different scheme before he got to 24. He had an injury. And plainly, Sidney Brown needs to just get on the field more and play and get the reps that he needs. I mean, that's really it. He said learning this defense mentally, it can only go so far. And obviously, Sidney Brown needs those reps. And I think from a standpoint of a scheme change and not getting the reps that he's getting, but just getting special teams reps, that's what's really affecting him right now. And he'll be well into the competition at this safety spot, no doubt. The cornerback 2 spot is obviously another big one that Fangio did talk about. And he said, yes, not plainly, but pretty much saying there is a competition at that spot with Ringo and with Adoree Jackson, okay? Now, he did talk about Kelee Ringo specifically and said flat out, the kid needs reps. And we've been saying this the entire time. You can't throw a guy into a game cold and expect him to play well, and then that's your analysis of the player going into next season. I can't stand fans that were saying that about him. And I understand, I hope he makes it. I'm rooting for Kelee Ringo to take this job. Kelee Ringo is here to take the number 2 job. Adoree Jackson is a safety blanket and a pretty good corner that can come in, and if you need him, he's there. This is early in the process, and at that cornerback 2 position after Slay left, we kind of were sitting there like, what are they going to do? Was it going to be a Jalen Ramsey trade? Were they going to sit back and just let this thing kind of develop the way it is? And that's what it is. Until they get the full pads on, let these guys hit, see what these guys could do. And Ringo has all the tools that he has right now against the best receivers that just won a Super Bowl. So iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. And Ringo has a big opportunity here to steal that number 2 spot. Now, we finally get the word on Nakobe Dean that he will not be back for a while. Those were the quotes from Vic Fangio himself. I'm guessing probably not till October, November, most likely. This is a contract year for Nakobe Dean, and what the Eagles are going to do with him at the end of 2025 is going to be an entirely different situation on the future of this linebacker core. And the Eagles have drafted Small Munden from Georgia. Trotter Jr. is on this team right now, and I think Fangio likes him a lot. Ben Van Simmeren just returned the practice today, which was great. So I was glad he came back coming off that knee injury before that Baltimore game last year and is finally healthy himself. Now, with Jiad Campbell being out and not having Nakobe Dean probably for a while, Trotter Jr. and Small Munden, some of these other guys are going to have the opportunity now to really showcase, what they could do. And they're going to get a lot of reps now. And it's nice, sometimes you get injuries like this. It's almost a blessing in some cases because you really get to find out some of the depth that you have on this roster. We've seen some of Trotter Jr. We've seen nothing of Small Munden because obviously he's a rookie right now going to camp for the first time. But, down the stretch, God forbid you have injuries, you have guys on this roster that can come in and play right away. And it's a good thing. Now, Vic Fangio talked about Jordan Davis, that he's in the best shape of his career, okay? Now, he had some things to say. Now, someone asked him, like, was he not in shape last year? What's been the biggest issue with Jordan Davis? Now, Vangio said he could have talked about this for a few hours, but pretty much said, like, some guys just take a while to get in the shape they want to be in. And for Jordan Davis, it just took him a little bit longer because at the end of the year, that's where he really shined. The NFC Championship game to the Super Bowl where he had 2 sacks in both of those games, which is great. And early in the season, we know that Jordan Davis lost a lot of snaps. He did. When it came to where Vic Fangio really wanted a pass rush, Jordan Davis had less of the snaps and pretty much said, like, some guys just take longer to get into that shape that they want to be in. But if Jordan Davis isn't in the backfield, and he even said he's getting better as a pass rusher, he's a nice run stuffer, and he can really hold his ground and really get those linebacker fits around him if he's taking on a double team or something like this. And I think fans have really disrespected Jordan Davis, and I get it. I don't think he's lived up to what he was supposed to be in the draft, where he was drafted, but I think he's still a very solid player. And I think there's just a lot more that he's going to give to us, especially in this 2025 season. So that's really the news on Jordan Davis, and he expects a very big season from him this year. That's pretty much it, guys. So that's pretty much been all the news we kind of been looking for when it comes to a few players. We have players that need reps. We have players that need opportunity, and we're going to get a lot of that. But guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day, and definitely like the video. Let me know what you guys think about Jiad Campbell. Are you worried about him, Nakobe Dean being out as long as he's going to be? Guys getting opportunity. Do you feel good about Keely Ringo? Anything from what Fangio said at his press conference, you let me know in the comment section below. I will see you guys on the next one. Shakes what up. Fly, Eagles fly. Peace out. Peace.